Oh, there we go. How's it going, all? Hope you're having a great one. I've got my new puppy here. So if I don't seem excited, I know now. Normally when we kick off these videos, I'm like, great to see you, blah, blah, blah. I've got a new puppy down there and she's looking at me and she's just thinking, should I start crying around this moment or not? Woke up this morning when we were getting ready to come down the studio and I realised that my wife and kids were out all afternoon doing stuff and I had the puppy solo. So she's down there thinking about sleeping, hopefully. Anyway, whereabouts are you in the world today? Let me know in the comments. Hey, Alan. Not you, Alan. Alan Wadey over here. We've got Alan and Jason and Michael and the Rusty Dynamo. What's the story behind that? Rusty Dynamo. Your DG2 is in Russia. Hey, dude. Is it the puppy from the podcast? It is the puppy from the... I think it's the puppy from the podcast. I've only got one puppy, so I'm assuming it is. Thankfully. She's still not down. I'm going to give her this. Look, I've got a strategic treat here. I've got this chew thing. I'm going to put it in. Go. Here we go. Oh, she's thinking about it. It's in. It's in. And she's sniffing it. And she's chewing it. We're in. We might be okay. My word. This is her second live stream. I did a live stream last week and she actually slept through it all. So, yeah, she's doing great. She's doing great. We want to see the puppy. Look, everybody on the last live stream said, pick her up, show us. I daren't pick her up and show you because that means she's out of the crate and she is going to be running around and eating wires and stuff. So I'm just going to keep her in the crate. I'll show you. Look, I've got for any dog lovers there, I'm going to, let me just see. Where are we? Oh, yeah, I've got some. Oh, my word, she's so cute. Where are you? Can you see her? I'm just going to hold this up there. Oh, I'm like 20 seconds behind, aren't I? I'm looking at, oh, there you go. I can put her a little closer. There you go. Yeah, super cute. That's her asleep. But her usual antics is that, and there she is holding my daughter's shoe that she had ran around and zoomed off with, yeah, on the couch. Anyway, she's a proper land shark. Anyway, great to hear from you guys. Great to see you today. And I've got a quick announcement I want to make, just in case you've missed it. And then I thought we'd do some Q&A as well, because I haven't been on YouTube Live and done any Q&A in forever. So I thought it'd be a cool time to jump into some Q&A and see what things are tripping you up and seeing what I can help you with. Somebody's asking about this bass already, so let me just answer that right off the bat before we get into any announcements or anything. This is a bass that I got, was it just before Christmas, Alan? Yeah. I think it was, wasn't it? She's crying and chewing at the same time. Anyway, so I got it just before Christmas. It's a F-bass BN5. If you saw me with the yellow banana bass, same deal, but just a bit fancier. It's all maple. Well, it's not all maple, but if you look on the back here, it's got these like maple wings on it, flame maple wings with a ash center block. I think it's an ash center. Yeah, an ash center block. So maple wings, ash center block, through body stringing, maple neck. It's got an olive top, which looks fancy. It's got 2 soap bar pickups that I can actually put these into series and parallel using these switches down here, which are pretty cool. And then other than that, it's just like a standard jazz bass, really. If you get rid of this, you've just got volume, volume, tone. And then on here, can they see? Do I need to pick this up? Volume, volume, tone. And on here, we've just got bass, middle, and treble. So it's actually, even though it looks like a dare gone wrong, how many controls can we put on this bass? Even though it looks like that, it's actually pretty simple. I just think about it as a jazz bass plus bass, middle, and treble with these extra things here, which put it into series and parallel, and then also single coil mode. But it sounds great. Neck pickup sounds like this. Bridge pickup sounds like this. And then both of them together sound like this. Like that. And it sounds really, really beautiful. Kind of like a jazz bass on steroids. Anyway, so that's the bass. It's an F bass. F down there. And they're cool basses. I'm not affiliated with them, I'm not sponsored by them or anything like that. So like I buy these basses. All of the basses you see me with, I buy. There's no sort of like weird shenanigans going on behind the scenes. So yeah, they're really cool. The only downside really is they're like custom basses, so they're expensive, but all custom basses for the most part are expensive because they're made by real humans in workshops and stuff like that. And I used to be an apprentice luthier when I was 18, and I've sanded many basses, so I know the grunt work that goes into it. Oh, this bit here. Somebody's saying, Comfy Tiger's saying, do I regret selling the banana bass? I gave the banana bass away, it was a giveaway. Do I regret it? Well, it went to a really great cause. Do I feel like I've lost my baby? Little bit. Anyway, so if anybody's wondering what this bit is here, this big chunky bit, because obviously you've got the 2 pickups. There's this big bit here in between. This bit is called a ramp, okay? And it was originally, the person that it gets, I guess, who like officially invented it was Gary Willis. So Gary Willis, if you look at his bass, he's got one bridge pickup down here and he's got this big other thing. That thing is a ramp. And then off the back of Gary doing it, a bunch of other bass players did it. Bass players that you might know of, like Matt Garrison, Yannick Guizdala. There's a bunch of others as well. But interestingly, somebody that uses it and people don't actually notice so much is Billy Sheehan uses one as well. But it's just hidden a little. Not purposefully hidden, but he doesn't have it all the way down here. He just has it down the side of his pickup. And what it's originally for, or why people use it, is it because it sits underneath the strings. And if I come up here, my finger can fall right into that gap, okay? So if I was picking a note, let me pick a note here. If I was doing this, my finger's like traveling a long way, right? But if I do it here, it's not falling all the way into the string. It actually falls into the ramp underneath. So it reduces the amount of movement of the plucking hand and kind of gives you the impression or the feel of having more control. And therefore, in fact, it doesn't do that. It actually does give you more control in many ways. And that means that you can play faster. So when I'm doing sort of like lines like, like descending runs. It does make it like nippier. It's like Go Faster Stripes. But with Go Faster Stripes, it looks faster, but doesn't go faster. With this, it kind of goes faster as well. The downside is that sometimes it removes a little bit of your dynamic response, like how much you can dig in. I don't know. It depends on how high you have that ramp. If you have it really high, right underneath the strings, for me, I feel that it restricts my dynamics a little bit. But you can circumvent that by just, remove, you can just push that ramp down. You can sort of like sidestep that. So I don't know. Like, I like them. I like them. Do I like the way they look? Kind of do. They look mysterious to me. If I'd seen this when I was a kid, I would have been like, ooh, what's that? It would have been really cool. Anyway, how many people out there, let me know in the comments, how many people play with ramps yourself? Give me a yes or a no in the comments. Yes if you play with one, no if you don't. Can you put one on any bass? Yeah, Jason, you can put one on any bass. I've seen them on P basses, I've seen them on jazz basses. Yeah, you can pretty much put them on any bass. If you just write like bass guitar ramp in Google and go to images, you'll probably find something, a bunch of different ones on there. Mostly no's. Yeah, James, I want a ramp. Yeah, no. Some people actually hate the look of them. Jason's saying, why didn't you go to NAMM? Ian went for me. Ian went for me, and Sharon. Can you put them between the bridge and the bridge pickup? So down here, yeah, some people have them like covering the entire, not so much down here because you very rarely play anything like down there. But there's a lot of people that, like back in the day when Yannick Guizdala was a lot younger, obviously because it was back in the day, back in the day when somebody was older. When he was younger, his bass had 2 soak bars, ramp here, and then a ramp here as well. They do feel cool when you play with one. It's like one of these things that you've got to try before you cast an opinion about it. You can say, oh, I don't like the look of them, whatever, right? But just when you try one, you might be like, oh, actually, this feels really great. That most of the people that I've seen playing with them have gone down that pathway. Anyway, so that's the bass, that's ramps. We're going to get into some questions as well. But first of all, Wilson Saka saying, looks like a pregnant bat. Who looks like a pregnant bat? My bass? Or my dog? Easy. Yeah, she's awake. You've just woken her up now. If she starts crying, it's because of that comment. With the what's the wackiest bass you own? Rocky's saying. I've got a wacky semi-acoustic. I don't know where it is. I think it's in a case somewhere. But that's pretty wacky. And also, wackiest bass. Let me just grab this. This is pretty wacky. Oh. This is pretty wacky. This is a 6-string Manet bass designed by Daniel Camado, and it's wacky and gorgeous. It's really nice. It's small. It's like, whoa, 30-inch scale, I think it's a 30-inch scale, but it just looks killer and sounds beautiful. It's got the interesting thing about this is it's got a multi-laminate neck, so it's got these 2 pieces of wood either side, and then in the middle it's got multi-laminate. Okay, so I count how many there, 1, 2, like a lot. I'm going to say 15 laminates or something like that, all layered across each other. And what it does is it creates an incredibly stiff neck. If any of you guys have ever played a Kubicki Factor, maybe the greatest bass of the 1980s, check it out online if you haven't already. Kubicki Factor. Those necks as well are also multi-laminate and just feel so stiff, like crazy. It's quite an interesting feel. Like you don't really pick up a bass and think to yourself, oh, this neck is unrigid. But those basses, like that one and the Kubicki Factor, they just have this rigidity to the neck. I guess similar to when you play a something with a graphite neck. You know, many of you might have played something with a graphite neck before, you know. and it's a similar vibe. Anyway, my important announcement is, if anybody is wondering, is that we've got sort of like a kickoff to spring. I was about to say kickoff to summer. A kickoff to spring discount going on at SBL right now. It's like on for the next 2 days, and we thought it'd be a great way to, obviously, people, get into the New Year's resolutions, kicking off the new year and thinking, okay, this is the year that I'm going to crush it at bass. And we thought, I was pausing because I was thinking about myself. I'm doing Peloton at the minute. Anyway, but you might not want to do Peloton. You might want to do the bass version of Peloton, and that is SBL, and specifically the membership over at Scott's Bass Lessons. So if you've been thinking about joining, we've got a $50 discount on right now, and that gives you access to everything. You might not even know what's in the membership, because there's actually so many things in there. It becomes somewhat difficult to kind of like put it into a wanna. But I would really there's so many things, but I would say 3 things really importantly to take note of is, number 1 is Player's Path is inside the SBL membership, Scott's Bass Lessons, and she's starting. So Player's Path, which is really a fully formed curriculum that starts, and it's a performance-based curriculum, so it's all about learning songs and takes you from complete ground zero, just picking up the bass for the first time, all the way through to kind of like just past university level playing. It's 9 levels. There's nothing like it on the market at all. I actually modeled it off my own learning and how I learned when I was a kid. When I was learning classical guitar, I used this thing called the grades, and a lot of people here in the UK use the grades, but there's just not a really amazing version of it online for bass players. So that's what we wanted to really take and construct ourselves, and we injected that into the SBL membership, and it's outlandishly awesome. I'm sure people in the comments, I'm just looking, like Kevin's saying I'm at level 7 now. It really gives you because I think that online learning is really amazing, but sometimes the downside of it is there's just so much. You've got no idea what to work on next, what direction you're heading, whereas take something like karate, right? There's a belt system. It's easy. You start with white belt, and as you're working on white belt, what's coming next? Everybody knows it's yellow belt. Okay, and then after yellow belt, as you're working for that next belt, what happens? Then it's your orange belt, then it's your green belt, then it's your blue, purple. And it's great for learning because it gives you a through line. You always know where you're heading in the future, and it really helps simplify the learning process and keep you focused, and also keeps you focused on, in bass playing terms, it keeps you focused on performance, playing songs that get harder and harder over time. And as you're doing that, you're learning the skills that need to go with those songs to be able to perform them right. So that's what Player's Path is all about. And that entire curriculum and learning system is inside the membership over at Scott's Bass Lessons. By the way, if you want to check out any of the things that I'm talking about right now, just go to playerspath.com and you'll find it there. So that's the first big piece of the membership. The second piece is the course library. We've got over 100 courses ranging from, in fact, if you're an SBL member, let me know. Wow, James is on level 9. My word, amazing. Level 9 on Player's Path is frightening. If you're an SBL member, let me know in the comments which has been your favorite course or favorite courses from the SBL course library. Now, the course library it does what it says on the packet, right? It's a library of amazing video courses from some of the greatest bass educators on the planet. So it's like Gary Willis has got courses in there. Andrew Goucher, Gospel Godfather, has got courses in there. I've got courses in there. Ian Martin Allison has got the course in there. Nick Campbell from Dirty Pockets has got courses in there. There's so many people have courses in there, and there's over 100 courses, and we add a brand new course every 6 weeks to that library. So when you sign up for your membership, you get courses all of the time. So you can go into the back catalogue, but also check out all of the new courses. It's the greatest course library on the planet in terms of bass education, all in one place. And then the third thing is the learning pathways as well. And the learning pathways well, it does what it says on the tin. These are real, true learning pathways that really reduce down all of the guesswork of learning something online, and piece by piece, bit by bit, we help you build a wall in terms of whether it's learning a skill like walking bass lines, or learning a style like funk bass, or whether it's something like music theory or slap bass, and you can go and learn with one tutor focused on a specific style or skill. And that's the learning pathways. I should have said there's actually 4 things as well when it comes to the membership. Every single Monday, we also do a live stream. It's called SBL Mentors, and you get to interact like this with bass players like Gary Willis, John Patitucci, Michael League from Snarky Puppy. I do them. Ian Martin Allison does them. If you're fans of the podcast, we've got Danny Mo Morris, who teaches at Berklee College of Music. We've got Todd Johnson, who's so good at teaching jazz and jazz standards. And we've got a whole host of other amazing bass players as well, and tutors that take part in that. And that's every Monday. That's all you get when you join up for the SBL membership. And as I was saying, when you do so, there's only 2 days left. When you do so right now, we're going to give you $50 off enrollment. And also, I should mention, if you grab that offer, you get to keep it for life. So as long as you stay a member, you get to keep that $50 off, okay? So pretty cool stuff. If you want to check it out, just go to playerspath.com and you'll find it there. And I'm assuming, we've got a link in the description. Let me just make sure that link's right. Yeah, link in the description as well. So hit that and go check that out. Now, if you've got any questions about the membership or questions about bass playing as well, let's spend the next 15 minutes talking about that. And if you have a question as well, hey Duncan, cheers dude. If you've got a question, write question before your question, and then I can actually see it in the chat. That'd be really, really helpful. Cheers, James, that's amazing. Jazzman saying, do you ever refret? I have refretted basses. I actually haven't refretted any of my basses. I've just, when I was an apprentice luthier, when I was working, when I was like 17 or 18, I refretted a lot of basses and guitars. So do you, basically, and I've owned jazz basses as well, and P basses in the past that have had refrets. It's great. Just get it done by somebody that knows what they're doing. Don't do it yourself. Just pay the money to get it done. Hey Keith from Malaysia. James is saying, do you like playing bass with slap or fingers more? For me, I feel much more comfortable playing with fingers. And I've always had an internal battle with playing slap, and not felt that I'm that great, or that I find it natural. That said, a couple of years ago, I put a course together called the Slap Bass Accelerator, and I filmed it with Ian Allison. It was him, it was me in this room filming it for I think it was over 2 weeks we filmed that course for. And I really had to up-level my slap bass playing, because I didn't want to be the ugly cousin in the room, right? Where he was doing all his stuff that he does, and I was there with sort of like a turkey thumb, whatever that is. So I really worked hard for it, at it, over a period of a few months, and that really made me a lot more confident with my slap playing. And it was a real reminder to me that even I'm 46 this year, you can suck at something later on in life, and you can fix that by simply focusing on it. But it was also a sharp reminder to myself as well that it takes time. It took me at my level to maybe 8 to 12 weeks. I've actually documented this somewhere, but I think it was 8 to 12 weeks, maybe a little longer, to really feel like I was getting comfortable with slap playing. And what I did to do that is I actually broke slap down into all of its individual parts, because it's not just slap bass, right? It's what makes up a technique. Well, slap bass, it's thumbing, it's hammer-ons, it's double thumbing, it's pops, slides, it's triplets, there's all these. So I actually really dissected slap bass as a technique. dissected it and compartmentalized all of these other little techniques and worked on them as individual techniques and then brought them together and created riffs to do so. So when it came to like double thumbing, like I just couldn't do it. I couldn't. It felt incredibly uncomfortable for me to do that. And for me to get that down, that was a long time actually, just to get comfortable with the feel of the string. So if anybody's tried to do, has anybody tried to do like up thumbing? Double thumbing at home and it's felt really uncomfortable? Give me a yes in the comments if it feels really uncomfortable to you when you do that. Let me know. Give me a yes if you've tried to do this. And what I mean by double thumbing is you go through the string, but then you also catch the string on the way back up. So you're almost using your thumb like a plectrum. Have you felt weird playing like that? Okay, I've got a lot of yeses here. Great. Okay, so me too. It felt really weird. And honestly, what made it, like, to put it into words, you know, if you crack open a pot, like a ceramic pot, and you kind of like, oh God, even thinking about it, with your nail, you scratch inside that break. Oh, that's what it felt to me doing that. And I just persevered and it just went away. No secret. I just started going. For me, I tried to get it down on one string for one note. I was just going through. They're all downstrokes. And then every now and again, I'd go. Try and do a. And I kind of, when I did it, I'd be like, oh, that feels awful. Or double. And then and I did that for a long time. Just that exercise to give you an idea. Probably about a month, maybe longer, 4 to 8 weeks, something like that. And that's how long it takes. I think that when people are learning new techniques, we forget really quickly how long it actually takes to learn a technique, and we get really impatient and unfortunately give up and don't give ourselves a chance. And going through that experience with slap bass really reminded me of that. So message of words of wisdom to all you people right here is that your patience could be one of the main things holding you back in terms of really up-leveling your bass, because you're just impatient and you don't give your body the chance to learn the new movement, or you overload it with too much information. And I know that because I do it too. I'm not saying, hey, I'm here on my pedestal and I'm telling you. I'm not saying that. I'm like down here with you guys. I'm saying, hey, I know because I did it too. I was the one that was frustrated. I was the one that didn't really practice my slap bass for over 2 decades and had kind of written it off. I was like, oh, I'm just not natural at it. Just how many of you have said that to yourself? I'm just not natural at that thing. It's bullshit. You know, it is, and I'm speaking to myself here as well. You're just not being patient enough with yourself and giving your body the chance to actually learn the new movement. And by that I mean it's not you learning the movement, it's your body. So your motor cortex has to learn that new movement before it can do it. It's got nothing to do with what you want, right? It's like when I'm You know, asking my little puppy down here to do something. It's got nothing to do with what she's going to do what she wants. She's going to ignore me. Your body's the same. You might want to be able to do something, but you have to go through this process and give your body the chance to learn the movements. And for the majority of people, they kind of cut themselves off at the knees because they're just not patient enough. And for me, just getting that double thumb thing down, again, just to get it comfortable was like 4 to 8 weeks. And to be able to use it and feel comfortable, probably 12 months. And I've had conversations with Charles Bertu. If anybody's sort of like an SBL super user, you've probably listened to my interview with Charles Bertu that we did last year. And I asked him outright, I said, hey, with this double thumb thing, did you do that to begin with? He said, no. He said, I just did this, whatever, you know, what I used to do, right? And he was like, now I do so I said, how long did it take you to get that down? He was like, probably like 12 months to 18 months. Jacob Umansky, freak show bass player, same thing, same conversation, same question. How long did it take you to get that down, Jacob? Probably about a year. It's to do with your patience and your, you know, just willingness to just do the thing without getting too in your head about it and stopping yourself before you give your body the chance to learn it. So, anywho, got a bunch of other questions here. I'm going to jump into them. Ooh, boy, there's a lot. What's your honest thoughts on the Sire basses? They're really good. They're really good. Better than that, I'll give you a better answer. They're so good that I've got friends that are professional bass players who just use Sire. Roberto, hey Roberto, saying, question, I just received a 35-inch scale bass, trying to figure out how to select the strings to have the high tension strings on it. I am not the person to ask on that. I'm so useless when it comes to strings, Roberto, so I'm going to refrain. But if you're a member of scottsbasslessons.com, I would go and ask in the forum. We've got a forum there called The Campus. Go check it out there. Again, if you're not a member, go to playerspath.com. You can grab that $50 free trial. That $50 off and a free trial. And also, talkbase.com is a great forum as well to ask questions like that. Rocky's saying, what's your top 5 bassists of all time? Oh, Rocky, that is so hard. Okay, changes daily. Let me try and drop some here. Okay, so Skuli Sverrisson, spelled S-K-U-L-I, Skuli, and surname S-V-E-R-R-I-S-S-O-N, Sverrisson, Skuli Sverrisson. Anthony Jackson, Jaco Pastorius, that's 3. Jeff Andrews, there's too many. Matt Garrison, maybe today. Lincoln Goins, John Patitucci. I could go on. Gary Willis, sorry. Gary Willis would go in the top 5. Sorry, Gary. Gary Willis. There's too many. All of them guys. Yeah, somebody's like, give me hearts. Give me some hearts if you're loving them people. What's your favorite bass pedal? For me, actually, I really like reverb. If I had to, I really like reverb. But that's just for me because I like, melodic playing and all of that. Functionally, probably an octave pedal might be really helpful. What I like as a bass pedal is what's the most useful pedal is not what my favorite pedal is not what's the most useful pedal. The most useful pedal, other than a tuning pedal, would probably be an octave pedal. I would say. Question: speaking of accelerators, any of them opening for enrollment soon? Technique accelerator. Oof. I knew it. What's your favourite Metallica bassist? Jason Newsted. The best time to start. Yeah, exactly. William said, I've been looking at learning scales to extend my playing, knowing what notes in what key, but I've been struggling to know how scales actually help. Do we have any suggestions? That is a rabbit hole, William. And so scales. What is a scale? Okay, so first of all, the major scale is the most important scale. And when you think you've learned it, you haven't. You know, it's if I played this, for instance, key of E. That was just E major. All of it was E major, except that at the end. All of that was just E major. All of it. All of that's just E major, okay? What I would say is, instead of going down the rabbit hole of major scales or modes or anything like that, what I would, if we were sitting here in a room together, I would say, do you know your chord tones? Because if you don't know your chord tones, that is the most important part to work on first. Once you've got that locked down, then look at scales. But my suggestion would be to look at chord tones, okay? And they are the chords, the tones within a chord. They are the chord. Some people call them arpeggios as well, but chord tones, arpeggios, same thing, right? So, and the reason they're really, really important is because if I've got a chord sequence like this, let me play a chord sequence, okay? C major to A dominant to D minor to G7, okay? Root notes would be. So let's say we need to create a bass line around this, right? Start with roots. Okay, so just roots. Then we need to add in maybe the fifths of the chord, okay? So I'm not thinking scales right now. Okay, now maybe let's add in roots, thirds, and fifths. So roots, fifths, and thirds. Okay, so that was just triads. That's just roots, thirds, and fifths. Nothing else, okay? Now let's add the sevenths in of each scale, of each chord. Okay, so that was adding the sevenths in. At no point am I learning using any scales. Okay, so that's just a demonstration of, and this is to everybody, right? Can you play can you use chord tones effectively to create your own bass lines and grooves? If you can't, that is the thing that you should be working on, not scales. Okay, I'm not dissing scale. I know scales. I love scales. Great, woo, modes, yay. Okay, wicked. But we can't put them before this. If you were a guitar player, what would you learn first? Some chords or some scales? If you've learned guitar, you know you open that guitar book up, there's some chords there, right? Here's A major, D major, E major. I don't know. I ain't got perfect pitch. Anyway, so you play in the open chords. With bass, same thing. We need to be able to play the chords. C major, A major, D minor, G major. We need to be able to play the chords before the scale. So that would be my scales are good, great, learn them, but don't put them before chord tones. Learn chord tones first. And this stuff has been taught, as far back as like the bass was, not as far back as the bass was invented, but think about James Jamerson, right? James Jamerson wasn't thinking chords, he was thinking wasn't thinking scales, he was thinking chord tones. Think about Carol Kay, one of the greatest bass educators of her generation. What did she talk about all the time? What did she talk about over and over? Chord tones. What does Jeff Berlin talk about over and over? Chord tones. All of these great bass educators, what do they talk about? Chord tones. So, and they're not saying that scales aren't important, although some of them do. But I'm not saying scales aren't important. What I'm saying is chord tones first. Get that nailed down, because that's how we play chords. That's how we outline the chords. We don't really think scales when we're doing that. Scales are great, but they're used in a slightly different way. Hopefully that's helpful to everybody. Okay, I'm going to do a couple more questions and then I'm going to bail. Let me just have a look. And remember, if you want to come and learn from me and some of the best bass educators on the planet, I would love for you to come and do so. You can join scottsbasslessons.com, the membership. We're giving you $50 off right now for the next 2 days, $50 off, and you get a free trial as well. So you can try the entire platform for free. And then if you like it, then you can get the $50 off. And if you don't, if you're like, Scott, this sucks, then you can cancel at any time. But trust me, you won't, because it's badass. It is the greatest online learning platform for bass players that really want to push their bass playing to the next level. Okay, so Bane's saying, why don't you guys focus more on modern metal? We're actually going to do a lot more of that. More stuff like Adam Nolly will be sick. Yeah, okay, so Bane, I'm assuming you know that we've got the Adam Nolly Get Good course in the course library at Scott's Bass Lessons. There's actually going to be more stuff coming like that. Obviously, Jacob Imansky. I'm not sure if you've been going to Jacob's live streams that we've been doing those on Mondays. Jacob's one of the most exciting modern metal players out there. So if you are a member, make sure that you check out Jacob's live streams that he's been doing. Sorry, zooming through. Oh, somebody's saying, does the membership only include Players Path, or does it include the entire platform? No, it includes Players Path. It includes the course library, where we update new courses every 6 weeks. It includes the learning pathways. It includes the live streams every Monday called SBL Mentors. It also includes the community as well. So it's the entire thing. And somebody's put a link in actually for you to go check it out. Any thoughts about Sadowski basses? I love Sadowski basses. Some great players play them as well. How do you play Latin music? Oh wow, that is a rabbit hole, Jason. What I would say just briefly is go and buy some classics. Buy some classics, and also for me, what really got me into it, my pathway into that wasn't the classics. It was actually an album from a guy called Michel Camilo, Michel, Michel Camilo, 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 yeah. Anthony Jackson's on bass, and it was his big band album. So the album is, so if anybody wants sort of like an easy on-ramp into the world of Latin, for me, it was this big band album. Michel Camilo Big Band. So the album's called One More Once. One More Once, Michel Camilo Big Band. It has some of the best bass playing you will ever hear in your entire life. It's outrageous. And it's fun. It's an amazing album. Just, the rhythm section is maybe the best rhythm section I've ever heard in my life. It's just absolutely incredible. Get that thing and just crank that volume. I can remember sitting there on my parents' floor on their living room listening to this thing. I had just never heard anything like it in my entire life. Anthony Jackson on bass. Beautiful. Joe's saying, yeah, Camilo Trio stuff is amazing as well. Yeah, the Camilo stuff is amazing, Joe. I think that the big band, because it's sort of like just song-based and it's kind of like a party, isn't it? It's just a beautiful on-ramp into that world. And then there's the Michel Camilo Trio stuff. Then there's more traditional Latin stuff as well. Yeah, Jason said you should go into merengue. Absolutely amazing. What do you like most about the walkabout bass line? Walkabout bass line? You mean walking bass lines? My favorite thing about walking bass lines is that it is the single best way to learn how to use arpeggios and chord tones on the neck in a musical way. That's why I love walking bass lines. I tell everybody to use it. Learn walking bass lines. If you are not, what is a walking bass line, by the way? You get a song or a chord sequence. Let's take that chord sequence we were using before. C major, A dominant 7, D minor 7, G7. And a walking bass line around that would sound like this. Okay, just a walking bass line. I'm just walking, 4 notes a bar. And it is the single best way to learn how to use chord tones and arpeggios on the neck, period. If you want to learn from me directly on that, and I mean that really like sincerely, if you are not learning walking bass lines, you should do it. I was talking to someone recently who is playing at the highest level you could ever imagine in the world, the highest level. We were on a Zoom call and he really wants to expand his knowledge of the fingerboard and his understanding of chords and chord tones. And my number one thing was, I was like, we need to get you learning walking bass lines. That's the answer. The end. So if you do want to come and learn from me, 2 really strong recommendations. Both are in the membership. So one is called the Walking Bass Learning Pathway. So it's the learning pathway inside the membership. If you want to grab your free trial and your $50 off, that only lasts for the next 2 days, go to playerspath.com. And then go to the Walking Bass Learning Pathways. And I have got, it's like 8 courses. I think it's 8, maybe 6. But 6 or 8 courses taking you from never playing walking bass before to proficiently playing walking bass. To put that, it probably gives you around, it's probably 3 months of material you'll be working on in there, maybe more. And then also inside the membership in the course library is the Beginning Jazz Survival Guide. The Beginning Jazz Survival Guide. That's also a really fantastic course if you want to learn walking bass lines. And I mean that, like, even if you don't take my offer and you go and you're like, I'm actually going to learn this on my own. I'm going to go to YouTube and learn how to play walking bass lines. Just do it. If you're not learning walking bass lines or you've never really looked into that, learning that skill on the bass, you are putting yourself at the biggest disadvantage when it comes to taking your bass playing to the next level. If I play any sort of like funk groove, do you know that groove I was playing before? You know that groove there? All of that comes from I'm just going to use all of that same information in a funk groove. It's all just walking. It's just this. So really learn walking bass lines. It's the secret sauce that all of them great geniuses of the bass did. You know, think about all of these great bass players in the world, even if they're not known for like jazz or walking bass lines, if you look back in their history, that's what they studied. Nathan East, Anthony Jackson, Carol Kay, James Jamerson, you know, you could just go on and on. Some of the biggest players right now that are around right now studied jazz in their path. They use walking bass lines as a tool. They weren't thinking to themselves, I am going to become the best jazz bass player, Pino Palladino. They didn't think that. They just thought, I want to know how to really understand the fretboard, how to outline the chords, and learning walking bass lines is the single best way of doing that. Anyway, dudes, thank you so much for being here today. It's been wicked. She's been asleep all for the full hour, 54 minutes, which is outrageous. If you don't know what I'm talking about, there is not a person down here. It's a dog. It's my puppy. Just thought I'd clear that up because who's sleeping down there? It's my puppy. She's asleep. She never cried once, well, a little bit. But yeah, so again, really happy to be with you here with you guys today. If you want to go check out the membership, get that free trial, but also the $50 off, that's only lasting for the next 2 days. If you want to grab that, just go to playerspath.com. You'll find everything there. And also there's a link in the description. Hit that link, it'll take you over there and you can check it out. Again, amazing to see you guys. Hopefully I'll see you on the inside of the membership and you can come and, you know, learn this thing with me and the team. Take it easy. I'll see you next time. Bye.